Hello, today is October 30th, 2020, and I'm going to do a reading on Jack the Ripper as requested by a viewer. And I just want to say, if you're here, please, or if you've been watching my videos and you check and make sure you're subscribed, I would appreciate it. I get a lot of views that are repeating, but people aren't subscribed. So it helps my channel and I'd appreciate it. I just got to make sure this deck isn't all turned around back to front. Alright, and before I start to... I'm very picky. I decided I really needed to use the Haunted House Tarot deck for this. It feels like the right one. So, I'm using the Haunted House Tarot, and we're going to read on Jack the Ripper. I will put some informative links after I upload the video into the description box that I think are interesting regarding Jack the Ripper. And just as always, my readings are all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Okay, let me just and I ask the help of my spiritual helpers, ancestors, the Creator, to keep that low vibe, nasty stuff from any kind of residual around me or my energy. I filter it through them and their protection, and for them to guide me and help me to give a good reading and an honest one, an accurate one on Jack the Ripper. So first, what I'm going to try to do is get the cards to tell us what we need to know about him that maybe isn't out there or clear. I don't think the cards are going to, be able to me at this moment, be able to tell me exactly who Jack the Ripper is. But the thing is, once I start a reading and I get that basis of information, then I can say, okay, looks like were any of the suspects born within a, certain season, because you can pick up court cards, will pick up zodiac, so you can it's been very, very helpful in identifying and putting the person in context, or getting an idea of the energy of that person, or who it could possibly be. But right now we'll just allow the ancestors and my guides and the spirit of the tarot to tell us what we need to know about Jack the Ripper. Okay. This is the Strength card. And the Strength card can have a spirit, not just spiritual, but also a sexual kind of an energy to it. It is dealing with perhaps already, I'm feeling like a nod to not just having no impulse, poor impulse control. There's an aspect there somewhere of, where as you mature, you make a pause and you wise up, and you are more in control of yourself. You're less reactive, and you're more in control of your temper and yourself. Okay, we're getting that it's probably a king of earth or pentacles, coins. This would indicate someone who has a very physical appetite for things, a very physical appetite for life and appreciation of it. And if now there's nothing wrong, I want to say, with appreciating those things, but if you are somewhere where you're into just totally gratifying your senses, and that is what has power over you, and that is where you give your empowerment to, your desires, that can be very destructive. There's also a tendency to covetousness, control, wanting to have, and collecting. And I think wherein these women, and we do interesting, is this man had issues with women and sexuality, and his lack of ability of feeling in control. And okay, I'm getting he was possibly a male that had impotent problems and blamed women, was angry at women, frustrated, and took it out on women. That just came to me. I never thought about that because I just, Jack the Ripper is interesting and all, but I just really had no invested idea that way. So, but I'm getting this feeling that's coming to me, so I have to share that with you. That women, I think, felt threatened by women, particularly women who were involved in prostitution or involved in sex work. I prefer to say that. I think the factor of the woman having that control over a man in this case, and a man who has a stout appetite for, I think, sexual interests. I think it makes him feel emasculated, and there is a power issue at hand here, that he doesn't want a woman making him feel that she has more control of him, especially through sexual appeal or sexual issues, where that whole area is concerned. And this is a person that's oriented about their own gratification. These are people that can be positively, this can be a positively dignified thing, but in this case, we know it is not. So I know that we're dealing with somebody with a very considerable, I feel like, appetite for sexual interests and activity, but there's anger and there's frustration towards women, and there's a control issue at hand, a power play for this person, and the misogyny is that they hold toward women is just is horrible. It's misdirected. I think there's a failing within themselves as a man to feel fulfilled, and there is taking it out on women. And it is a sexually, kind of based issue here. Yeah, the wands, especially the Ace of Wands, can also be another card that you can look for where sexual energy is present in a reading, and also violence. It's depends on its dignification and the topic you're reading on. Look at that, the Tower. So I think we're tracking destructive acts and terror that he was causing gave him also the sense of power. So doing what he did to these women, these poor women that were, many times that's the only way women have had to, especially then, try to feed their families and or take care of themselves. So I feel like there's a combination of anger and sexual energy with this person, resentment toward women, which also kind of leads me to, was he impotent? Did he have issues like that, like ED or something? Seriously, because there's anger. And I'm feeling like he wants to be able to be super sexual, but he's not. He's destructive. Three of Wands. This usually deals with an expanse, looking to broaden your horizon. Well, let's just see. Can sometimes for me be the letters, the communication. Now we know he did send letters, and I think he kept things. Like I said, many times people that have a lot of earth influence in their character, their astrological chart especially, will have a tendency to certain material likes, and they can be a bit covetous. They can be a bit of that. Their food or their clothing, things, people especially. There's just a bit more of, because they're of an earth sign, they're just more attracted. That's just part of their makeup. But I see for him trophy aspects, and I feel an odd sense that when he would write these letters, yeah, it gave him a sense of security. These were largely power control games for his own insecurity, I believe, through sex, through the means of sexual and totally predatory, misdirected, taking it out on sex workers. Done, I feel very much that. But let's just continue here. It just made him feel powerful in an area of his life, I think, where he didn't, or where he felt super conscientious or hung up on, because he's not letting go here of this focus with women that are sex workers, with women and sexuality and attraction and that whole aspect of it, of his person, isn't healthy. It's what it shows it as being, he expressed it in a destructive manner. And it's the charge of creating that destruction and that terror of women, creating having that control. You can see here in this, especially in this deck, there is a woman that is running, screaming. And there is a woman here and here and here. He got off on their fear and trapping them, holding them, having them under his control. And just creating misery. It gave him an odd sense of empowerment, and especially being that they couldn't seem to figure out who he was. So this is a man that had a very serious, I feel like, complex here, where his personal sense of masculinity, sexuality were concerned. And he took it out on women. And he got off on the aspect of doing something horrible, being able to affect society in order to feel powerful, that he didn't feel sexually or in some way. And I think it's sexual. He chose women for a reason, and it's a sexual feeling there, and it has to do with power and seeing women as powerfully sexual beings. And he didn't like the fact that he felt this way, wanted to control them, and I feel like keep control for a period of time. And to me, this is the secrets that yet remain about the identity. I believe it also shows the information is there, it's just not been revealed. There's some issue that this man also did run into confinement of some sort. This could be institution, hospitalization, but it also says to me of his desire to abduct, basically, and control. And it shows that he stayed for a while and then he left. Then he left, and I feel like he went out further away. He could have traveled abroad. And I get a King of Swords. I feel like this is the man that was one of them that maybe in the police, the time that was trying to resolve the identity. Who it was that caused this horrible mayhem and destruction. Now let me read vertically. It's possible with the fact that I get another male here that this man helped him to leave. I don't necessarily know that he was involved in what was done. I think that was solo. But I do see another male figure that pops up. My question here is I think it's a man that either knew the secret, the identity, but was confined to say it, and may have helped him to leave, to go abroad. Could also be that this could be the indication of that this could be someone that was investigating and looking at him traveling abroad. And someone who may have had, because the activity had I think changed, but it was confined to a certain area, and I think the man who's responsible left and went further out, like maybe even out of the country. May have had the help of another male that helped him figure out how to do it, but it could also be that this is an investigator that is on his trail. And is a strategic thinker. We'll have to just see here. Yeah, with the law. He's with, I believe the King of Swords was with the law. And trying to narrow it down. There may be a group effort that could bring about some awareness, perhaps, to the identity. Like a collective that comes together. Because this judgment card to me also feels like there is understanding of maybe something that comes out, the new awareness. And perhaps that is to who is responsible. Or maybe they're able to narrow it down. There is help with temperance. So I'm feeling that you're dealing with forensic, perhaps, obviously, work. And once again, where the right combinations unlock the truth or help to understand the answer to who that was, to narrow, at least to narrow it down, I think. But I am shown that I feel like this male here is for sure responsible.
Dad left his phone here.
I know. Have a good day, Mickey. Bye. So, this, with the following cards that we have, justice and temperance and help, feels more like that was a man that was following, I think, tailing him. And I think that we still stand a good chance yet in the future of being able to come up with some forensic information to figure out the identity, Jack the Ripper, and maybe through DNA sequencing, or I know that they've, it's hard to say if there's anything that they have that they can use, but there's something yet that might prevail for them to apply. And I was just thinking of what has been going on more recently, where through ancestry tests that people have done, they're able to track the identity of the family that the person comes from. And I'm just wondering if it isn't possibly something along those lines. This person, this man, is masochistic, control, misery, makes him feel powerful. He is evil. Took pleasure. Again, I feel like it's this King of Pentacles in what they did. This to me is kind of the thing about how well known he is, but for a dark reason, and also that we don't really fully know who exactly it was. But I think it's also indicative that perhaps there is hope, that if we just persevere to find that out, we may end up having a better idea come. Yeah, right there. With the Emperor. I believe there still something yet could happen with being able to come up with more interesting actual links to a particular man or through a paternal side of the family. And I'm feeling like this could be somebody that could end up being a descendant of whatever family he came from. It's just a possible thing to me. And I feel that there is this risk with coming forward with that in that identification. So the person might be notified, but I feel like they might be very defensive, because who would want to be associated to that? And they're looking at the reputation of their family. But I think it will come out. I think they will do the right thing and have it released. This is into the future. And it shows that they'll understand more, I think, about the fantasy aspect of the thought behind and the emotion behind what he was doing, and the persecution of women. I mean, again, it's a woman tied at the stake. So I think that's interesting. I think we could yet, in the future, find out, if not a more likely candidate, who, perhaps exactly who. And I kind of felt that there could be some link where there are your descendants that are going to be having to face potentially the weirdness of finding that this person was a member in their family tree. So that is what I have for Jack the Ripper. And if you like this, please do remember to like and please subscribe. It helps my channel a lot. And if you are wanting a reading, I am now taking them. If you go to my About section, it has the information there. And you just follow the instructions from my home page here on my YouTube channel and go to the About section, and you can read about how I go about it. Okay? All right. So, I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you're having a great day. And I hope that you have also a pleasant Halloween. It's my husband's birthday.